Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifene. Great Malabite, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir. I saw the inventor of the word Malabite yesterday.
Okay, yeah. Sonny Eroche.
Yeah.
An original Malabite.
The original Malabite.
Yes. He was the one who came up with that term for the early students of Unicar who were living in a place where they later dubbed Malabo.
Malabo.
Yes. Now, let's start the review. Good morning, Victoria, Tundu, MKO Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Femi.
Yes, let's start the review with This Day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, obedience to constitution, non-negotiable. Judicial legislative workers tell federal government, insist on implementation of full financial autonomy for judiciary legislature. The position of the workers, clearly that the gross allocation for both the judiciary and the legislature at the state level should be fully remitted to the two arms of government. That is their position, and I think it is in line with the Constitution. So the workers are only saying governors should obey the Constitution, and I think that is clear enough. The governors have been coming up with their own idea of implementing what the Constitution says. One of the proposals they put forward, which was published yesterday, is that, yes, they will remit part of the allocation to the judiciary to the National Judicial Council instead of the State Judicial Council, while they will keep the allocation for magistrate courts and customary courts. Well, that's like meeting the requirements of the Constitution halfway. So for now, the strike continues according to the workers. They will reconvene next Tuesday, sometime next week, and perhaps for now, we'll have to live with this strike until governors know that they don't have to dip their hands into the till where you have the allocation for the judiciary and the legislature at the state levels. Now, if we just move over to other stories. Yes, the News Direct newspaper, Presidency Pros NPA suspends Hadiza Bala Usman as MD, appoints Koko as acting MD. Now, this sounds familiar. Tundu, you alluded to this earlier, and I think I should expand on that. This looks like a familiar pattern. We saw it in the case of the chairman of, the then acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu. The minister being the major traducer. In this case also, the minister is the traducer of Hadiza Bala Usman. And suspension follows in this administration. Suspension, I don't want to say it's becoming a synonym for removal, but it looks like a euphemism for removal. And you know what happened after suspension of Magu? He was replaced. The probe that took place, or the investigation by the Ayo Salem panel, the result has not been seen by anybody. I don't want to say it has not seen the light of day, because it is somewhere breathing, but perhaps the goal of that investigation has since been achieved with the replacement of Ibrahim Magu. Another parallel, Ibrahim Magu was defended by the president by sending his name 3 times to the National Assembly, even when they rejected him. In this case, Hadiza has just been given a second term. Something, Tundu, that sounds familiar, if you will.
It certainly does. That's why I raised it, and thank you for expanding on that.
Yes. So now let's move on to other stories. The very familiar story in Nigeria, insecurity. New Telegraph newspaper, students' abductions, bandits targeting government, says Sheikh Gumi, says They are working to secure release of Greenfield varsity students. Shegumi is working on that. So now, panic as gunmen abduct ABSU, that's Abia State University scholars. Incident devastating, evil, Kalu. Now, still on this insecurity, the Daily Times newspaper, 4 policemen slain as security chiefs, others meet Senate, pledge to end growing anarchy. The Daily Trust newspaper, the same story, 4 cops killed, police stations burned in Anambra, Ebonyi. But if you just look on top of that 4, you will see IPOB. Daily Trust suggesting it has to be IPOB, even though the investigations, nobody has been apprehended, the investigations have not been done, but the Daily Trust has a way of attributing such killings to IPOB. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, gunmen abduct Abia varsity students, number unknown. 2 policemen killed, station burned down in Anambra. Another police station attacked in Ebonyi. Policeman killed. DPO's office, admin building set ablaze. The Daily Sun newspaper, banditry, heavy security deployment in Abuja. Operatives drafted to schools, border towns, varsity, poly, others shot. The Guardian newspaper, still on Abuja, rumors of bandits attack unsettle Abuja as gale of insecurity spread across states. Parents withdraw words from schools in Abuja over kidnap scare. Schools remain safe, police insist. Bandits use walkie-talkie. No more GSM, says Nazra boss. Kidnappers abduct varsity students in Abia, dozens in Niger. Gunmen attack police stations in Ebonyi, Anambra. And of course, the Punch newspaper, Boko Haram invasion plot, anxiety in FCT, heavy security at NMPC, Army headquarters, others. Federal government increases security presence in Abuja, intensifies stop and search. We are not aware of security threats in nation's capital, says Guards Brigade. Now, this issue of threat to Abuja, we have been told by the governor of Niger State that insurgents are 20 kilometers away, occupying 41 towns and villages. Now, nobody has gone there. No military has gone there to dislodge them. But we are trying to fortify Abuja. Yes, Abuja should be protected, fortified. But why should we wait until these insurgents move, perhaps in their motorcycles and head towards the federal capital territory? I thought the right thing to be thinking about and doing should be going there to dislodge them. But again, the military, I want to believe they have their own strategy. Now, on a very sad note, the Leadership newspaper, also called Leadership Friday, last moments of Dare Adeboye has shocked disbelief, trail is dead. Adeboye, Dare Adeboye, the son of the General Overseer Worldwide of the Redeemed Church, Adeboye. And of course, he was hale and hearty, says Redeemed Church, rules out COVID-19 as cause of death. Buhari, Jonathan, others mourn. Yes, in Africa, we say father should bury son. No, sons should bury their father, not the other way around. But in matters of life and death, it is not in the hands of human beings. So anybody can die. But our hearts and sympathy to Pastor Adeboye on the loss of his son, who himself happens to be a pastor. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Financial Times of UK, Bank of England forecast fastest growth rate in 70 years as economy rebounds. 7.25% predicted growth. That is 7.25% growth predicted. Brief overshoot of inflation, rates likely to rise next year. The Bank of England has forecast a much stronger economic recovery from the pandemic this year, built on the back of course, higher consumer spending. And, of course, with the massive vaccination in the UK, businesses are opening. And if you look at Daily Express newspaper, of course, the governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, quite joyous about what is happening to the economy. That's what you call a bounce back, quoting the governor of the Bank of England. But in the USA, the economy, well, is facing a different problem according to the Wall Street Journal. Workers' shortage strains return of businesses. Yes, there's what the Wall Street Journal calls striking predicament. Businesses can't find enough people to hire as the economy reopens as a result of the massive vaccination and huge spendings from the massive stimulus of the Biden administration. But businesses are finding it difficult to get workers because of fear of COVID, lack of childcare, and jobless benefits hold back potential employees. Many will say, instead of me risking my life to COVID, I will stay home and receive the stimulus check from President Biden. Ruben, Rufai, and Tundu.
Okay, very quickly, let's commiserate with the Adeboye family, Pastor Adeboye, on the departure of Pastor Adeboye in Akwa Ibom. I mean, when we all saw that story, we were all really shocked. You know, just 42, he will have been 43 in June, and this has happened. But, you know, you have said it all. Our prayers, our hearts go out to that family. We condole. We join others in condoling them. But I was quite also impressed by the fact that this morning, you know, I saw on social media a report of Pastor Adeboye, that is the father, you know, still conducting a church service. And, you know, in this moment of grief, you know, the leader of the Redeemed Christian Church of God has shown that as Christians, no matter how bad the situation is, we must not lose faith. You know, I salute him for his, you know, for his stoicism in this trying moment. Okay, that is that about that. Now, the other issue, you know, has to do with the security situation in the country. You quoted about 4 or 5 papers, all about the security situation in the country. Yep. 4 cops killed, police stations bombed, students abducted, 4 policemen slain, the fresh crisis, you know, banditry, heavy security deployment. That's the report in all of the papers. And the major message we have received from the president is that we should all be sure that government will do what is right. And the president was even reported in one case appealing to us, to Nigerians, you know, not to lose hope. The president of Nigeria has not been elected to be a motivational speaker. The president of Nigeria is commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He has all the coercive powers of state at his disposal. The security agencies, the military, all. Now, can those things be used to fulfill the objective of Section 14, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Nigeria, which is to ensure the security and welfare of all of us? So we should not get to a situation whereby the president of Nigeria will become a motivational speaker in the face of insecurity in the land. That's my point.
All right, thank you so much.